Hello all and welcome to another Last Epoch build. My name is Boba and today I have a Forge Guard build for you guys. But as always, before we get into the build, a quick shout out to everyone who likes, comment and subscribe. You guys are awesome. Also, as a side note, I really wish to get a little bit more subscribers. Only like 5% of people watching the videos are subscribed, and once I hit the 1000 subscribers required to monetize this channel, I will be doing some really cool giveaway for you guys, because this is not just my channel, it's our channel. But anyway, let's talk a bit about the build. This build uses Lunge, ForgeStrike, VoidCleave, and ManifestArmor and Vengeance. So let's go over the spells really quickly. Lunge, we use it basically for movement. We jump around. It gives haste to all my minions, and it gives me health whenever I'm attacking. And whenever it's on cooldown and I attack, it gives me some health. ForgeStrike, we use it on a big area of minions. Whenever we see a bunch of minions, we attack them with ForgeStrike, summoning our blades that will help do some support damage. They are not really that important for damage. I mainly use them a little bit for damage, a little bit for bleeds and ignites, and a little bit for tankiness. They will take a couple of hits rather than the armor take it. Even though once my gear gets strong enough and have enough regeneration, it will be immortal as well. Right now my gear is not the best, so it's still kind of weak. VoidCleave, this is our main buffing and debuffing attack. We don't really use it for damage. VoidCleave, it gives a bunch of base damage to my minions, and if I hit an enemy, it will give them a bunch of reduced armor. We don't really want to use VoidCleave on enemies. If we have a choice between buffing allies and debuffing enemies, you always buff your minions, but if it hits an enemy, it's all good because it debuffs them. ManifestArmor, it's obviously our main dude. He deals a crap ton of damage, he has huge crits, and he's our main guy, the star of the show, as I say. Our character is mainly a buffer. For skills, we're running Vengeance, ManifestArmor, ForgeStrike, VoidCleave, and Lunge. The skill are set in a way of how I got them. So as soon as you get the Forge Guard, you will have 3 slots unlocked. Go for these 3. When the 4th one opens, get the VoidCleave, and finally get Lunge. Before leveling to Forge Guard, before getting up to Forge Guard, you can choose whatever skills you want. You can even level with Drive rather than Vengeance if you choose so. For Vengeance, we went 2 points Executioner. These are mainly for travel. We will not be dealing damage. The important thing about Vengeance is the bolster. 25% reduce less damage taken, which is Omega insane. As long as we're hitting stuff, we have 25% less damage taken and 50% increased armor, so we will have a lot of tankiness only from bolster. Perfect riposte, hits that you riposte cannot critically strike you, so we get a bunch of reduced crit chance on us. Rapid strikes, this is 5% attack speed. It's the last point, I just throw it there. 1 point in Fate Strike, this doesn't do anything. Damage plus 15%, we won't be dealing damage. 4 points in Armor Shred and Fire Shred. 100% increase the Armor Shred effect, so we'll be shredding the armor really faster. Fire Protection Shred applies to riposte, and Armor Shred applies to riposte. So when we're hit and he riposts the attack, it will give him more Armor Shred. And the last one, Fire Shred, goes into Physical Shred because our ManifestArmor will be dealing physical damage mainly, so he will basically be hitting like a train against a lob of butter. ManifestArmor, always go for first, as soon as you get the skill, walk your way towards the weapon. You want to be able to equip a weapon to your ManifestArmor, so it will start dealing some real damage. So you go 2 points in Iron Grasp, 3 points in Redistributed Steel, and 1 point in Titan Mace. So you have your weapon. Then you go 2 points in Plated Mail and 1 point in Force of Impact. This will, per 10 armor, we will have 1 more attack for our ManifestArmor. That attack is base stat, so all percentage to attack will start improving it. And then you just get the skills. I personally go for boots first because I want it to be a little bit faster because boots usually have movement speed. And then you start getting all the rest. I got the helmet last because I think that the helmet is um, the less impactful one. Also, if you get extra points, which we will probably do because you will want to get some manifest armor skills, put it on your in the helmet. Alright, so ForgeStrike. We want the ForgeStrike mainly to summon the Forge weapon. So we're buffing the Forge weapons, and then we want it as an instant cast with beneath Salorum. So basically, first you can either go get some stronger weapons first and then have them instant cast, or just go for the instant cast first and then buff your weapons. Last points you want to put Heavy Strike and or Strike Smash. You can distribute these points as you wish. It's not really important. Um, this one will make your weapons hit a little bit harder. This one will make your area bigger. So if there's a big area of mobs and you have a strong strike smash, a bigger area, it will hit more enemies, giving you the minions quicker. It's not that important because you're insta-casting and you probably have enough mana to cast 3 or 4 in a row. And then if you Vengeance a couple of times, you get mana from your talent trees, which I'll talk about in a second. So once you have the 12 weapons, you don't really need to use ForgeStrike. VoidCleave, this is the OP ability. You want to go 1 point in Rift Flame, 1 point in Hellish Chasm. Those two don't really do anything for us. This is the beast. Molten Blades. When you use VoidCleave and hit at least one enemy, your minions gain a stack of Molten Infusion for 4 seconds, granting them additional melee fire damage and the chance to ignite enemies. This is a plus 15 fire damage with buff and a 30% chance to ignite. Molten Infusion stacks on hit, it's 5. So that fire damage with buff is times 5. We will go get another charge, so we have an additional charge. We will use it. You will use VoidCleave twice in a row, so that's 10. It's 150% fire damage and a crap ton of chance to ignite. Scorching Pet. Minions only gain a stack of Molten Infusion when you directly hit them with VoidCleave, but it has a significantly increased effect. It's 100% plus, 150% plus effect. So 15 plus 150, it's 37. So that's a really huge numbers there. 37, remember, it's times 10, so it's 370 increased fire damage. It's really insane. It gives them a crap ton of damage. And then obviously you want to have the increased cooldown so you can VoidCleave faster. I took 5 points in armor shred because if I hit the minions it will basically take off a bunch of their armor. And then it's the nether charges. We explained additional charge, you VoidCleave twice in a row and it will do an insane amount of damage. Last points I went for into the depths just for that little bit of more area. I don't need the damage, my minions will be doing the damage, I'm just a support. So that area will help me hit more stuff. Hit my minions, hopefully hit the enemy, he gets the debuff with the armor shred and they will, again, they will start hitting like a train against butter because you're gonna remove all their armor, all their resistances and they will be hitting like against nothing. Lunge. For lunge, I went 3 points in cooldown reduction, so we have cooldown reduction when we're attacking stuff, so we can jump around quickly. Additional cooldown recovery and health gain. Recover additional amount of lunge cooldown and also grants health when you trigger it. Warrior Renew. Warrior Renew is this one. It's triggered. You reduce lunge remaining cooldown by 8% when you use a different melee attack and hit at least one enemy. This effect can only occur a limited number of times per use of lunge. So we hit with warrior, when we hit an enemy with our vengeance, we will get 20 health and we will reduce a bit of lunge cooldown. So we want to be using lunge, getting getting it on cooldown and hitting enemies to gain health. We get melee damage to high health, so as soon as we hit we do 60% more damage, which is gonna do nothing because our damage is kind of crap. Launch charge +1 and increased cooldown length, that's fine. We can jump to 2 enemies at once. Like jump and launch won't go on cooldown, it will have 2 stacks just like our VoidCleave. I got lead the charge, so when we launch, we have our minions gain some haste, which will make them walk faster. It's not hugely important. What you want with Lunge is basically this top 4 here. Top 4 abilities. Then I went for you regain 40% of health when you lunge, so of missing health. So if you have 1,000 life but you're missing half of it, so 500, you get 40% of that, which is 4 times 5, it's 200 health. It could help you heal a little bit faster, but you don't really have anywhere to put points in lunge anymore because you don't really need anything. You could technically go for invulnerable while lunging. I don't think I need it right now because I'm super tanky, so I didn't go for that. I went 5 points into frailty, which reduces their damage by 6%, stacks up to 3 times. I don't think it will stack as high, but we get a bunch of frailty to reduce our damage on us. And I took 1 point in impaired strike, so you immobilize them for a second, which basically doesn't really do anything, but c'est la vie. Anyway, let's get into the skills. Skills, we want 20 points in Sentinel as always. Although Sentinel is pretty good, we just want 20 points so we can jump into the better stuff. I took 5 points in Juggernaut, Fire Resist, Void Resist, and Strength. 5 points in Fearless, more Vitality, which means more health and more health regeneration. 5 points in Armor Clad, that's another 75 armor and 10% reduced damage from enemy. So with our buff from Vengeance, that's 35% reduced damage taken. And then we get health and mana whenever we use Vengeance. This Time and Fate triggers whenever you use it. You don't have to hit anything. As long as you're using Vengeance, your mana will be getting up. So if you don't need if you need mana and you don't have like enemies around, you can just cast Vengeance a couple of times, your mana will recharge. After you get those 20 points, you jump straight into Forge Guard. You want to get some points and Battle Hardened. 1 point in Weapon Master, this doesn't really do anything. Maybe the 1 strength is not bad, but doesn't help us. We just want it as a movement point. 1 point into Peltast. Again, it doesn't really do anything. We just want it as a movement point. 4 points into Shield Breaker. Again, doesn't really do anything. We just want it as a movement skill. And then you get Hammer and Anvil. This thing is insane. You deal, as long as you're not using a throw attack, which we won't be using, we will be dealing 25% less damage, but that's fine because we're not the one doing damage. But we will be taking 25% less damage, which is absolutely insane because in total with Vengeance and with our Sentinel passive we will be taking 60% less damage. So if we're being hit for 100 damage, we will be getting 40 damage, and then there's armor and all the other stuff. So it's absolutely insane. 60% reduced damage. We take 8 points in Guardian. The points you see like in Battle Hardened and Guardian, you can switch those around as you please. And then I took 6 points in Iron Attunement. We want a little bit more armor, and the attunement buffs our Manifest Armor. Manifest Armor gets buffs from attunement. It scales with attunement, it gains health and increased minion damage per attunement point, as you see down there. We want Folded Steel. This will give base damage to our Manifest Armor and our Forge weapons, so they will have base damage, everything will scale off of it. That's really good. 1 point in Flawless Defender, doesn't do anything, we don't have a shield. 1 point in whatever this word is, it doesn't really do anything, again we don't have a shield. And then you want 3 points in Shield Crafter. You have a chance to trigger Ring of Shields, which we won't be doing because we don't have Ring of Shield on our bar, so this won't trigger, but we don't care. We just want the 150% increased minion health, 150% increased minion armor, which will make our Manifest Armor and our weapons a lot more tankier. Then I went into Void Knight, working on getting my 10 points in Abyssal Endurance, which gives us health, void resist, physical resist. They're really good. And then into Paladin. You don't have to do this. You don't really need to get like the Sigil of Hopes. You can spend the points however you want. After the Void Knight, you can just go wherever. If you want to go back to the Forge Guard and get maybe some more health here, or maybe some more attunement, it's fine. I went with Paladin because the elemental resistance, the more elemental resistance I get in my skill tree, the more I have freedom to change my gear as I please. Valor, so a little bit of health, healing effectiveness doesn't really do anything. Well, we have a little bit of healing, but it's not that important for us. And 7 points in Blight, Chance, and Endurance. So we get some Endurance here, we don't need to get it from the gear. And Blind Chance making enemies harder to hit us. So enemies will be debuffed, so they can't really hit us. They will have a lot of reduced armor, so we can hit them like a truck. And if they manage to hit us, we're gonna get 60% base less damage and then a bunch of less damage from our resistances and armor. I will very quickly now get into the gear because I have a separate video which explains gear for the ManifestArmor better. But for gear, this boots is really good. For the Crit Strike multiplier, your ManifestArmor is gonna be equipping 4 of these boots, so it will give it a crap ton of multiplier on its crit. Rest of the gear, the helmet, chest, weapon, and gloves are gonna be, think of yourself as a warrior, so you want melee damage, melee speed, melee crit, and stuff like that. Health regeneration. The rest of your gear, your rings, your belt, your relic, your necklace, think of yourself as a summoner, so you want minion damage, minion health, health regeneration, resistances. For idols, your idols are just gonna be health, resistances, armor, stuff like that. Physical resistance, you're gonna need a little bit extra physical resistance because your boots reduce your resistance by 75, so you need to make up for that. You might be thinking my animate armor is gonna have a crap ton of reduced physical resistance, but that's fine, it doesn't really affect it. He is an extremely tanky boy. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Please consider subscribing. Thank you for making it all the way up to the end, and see you next time. Bye guys, thanks.